Michael von Graffenried, born 1957 in Bern. He became known through his outrageous photographic reports from Switzerland. Today, the panorama camera is his preferred instrument of expression. Since 1991, Michael von Graffenried has lived in Paris.
1, 2, 3, los!
From his father, he learned to meet people without reservation, and from his mother, the curiosity and enthusiasm to become acquainted with the unfamiliar, says Michael von Graffenried.
The camera is like an alibi in order to provoke an encounter. You are there is a park, there are two people on a bench. You go over and say, "Oh great, could I take a picture?" And you are already in conversation. It's often chance encounters that bring about my long projects. I was in Algeria. Elections were held and the wrong party won. In the name of democracy, the elections were interrupted and those who had practically won were pursued. And then there was war. With this rotating camera, I took photos without people noticing how I take them or whether I was taking them at all. Because this camera does not have to be held up to the eye, it stays on your chest, and people see the camera. It's not hidden, but they don't know when it's in action and when it's not. I used this in Algeria, and so I had a taste for the format. So it was not an aesthetic choice at first, but only later that I discovered the aesthetic and realized that people do look at CinemaScope. And then I noticed that these pictures draw the people in much more.
A contrast of two different worlds, alpine culture in Switzerland, desert culture in Algeria. With the large-scale panorama format, Michael von Graffenried wants to bring the viewer to the actual spot where the picture was taken.
This panorama camera turns from left to right, and by a 15th it goes until it's there. But now I had a lot of light. It was in the sun, in the desert. There it is so bright. I had to use a 250th and it goes. But in spite of that, it was apparently enough to take the picture of the camel, and between the camel and the shadow, the camel had moved. In fact, it slowed down, and that's why the shadow here is not identical with the reality.
An Islamic sacrificial ceremony in a Christian land. I want to see it. That's why I came here, says Graffenried. In Algeria, the traditional ritual is that the sheep are slaughtered by the head of the household. Here, it's forbidden. The slaughter takes place behind closed doors, and to me, that's an interesting conflict.
Die eine Geschichte kann man von A bis Z erzählen.
You can tell one of these stories from start to finish. You make a film or a series of photos. First buying the sheep, and then it goes into the machine, it is slaughtered, it comes out slaughtered, the owner comes and takes it away and puts it in his car. That's 10 photos. Today I see it all, and I have always done it like that. But now I am looking for one picture. A picture that sums up this scene. Of course, it doesn't show everything, but you can sense it. You can see this conflict.
C'est la photo.
Non.
Meine Mutter ist Ethnologin, die hat Ethnologie studiert.
My mother is an ethnologist, and this made an impression on me. The curiosity of the ethnologist. I am also a kind of ethnologist. When I visit a horse butcher in the Jura region or Swiss women in Fribourg who have converted to Islam and are learning Arabic. It's all ethnology and has an influence on me.
Und dort bin ich beeinflusst. Als ich 17, 18 war, hat meine Mutter nochmal.
When I was 17 or 18, my mother went back to university to do a doctorate. She spent 5 years, always during the dry season, living in a village in the Mandara Mountains in the north of Cameroon. And I thought somehow, as a 19-year-old, this is great, National Geographic, and I could do something there. So I went to visit her, and my dream was, she writes the text, I take the photos, and we will publish in the National Geographic.
The photos were never published, but Cameroon gave me an incentive to take a critical look at my own environment, says Michael van Graffenried.
As a photographer, I see myself almost like an ambassador. I go somewhere, perhaps where others don't go, and I take pictures there and come back and tell them what it was like. I go there and shock people. And I say, here I am, I'm Michael, I take photos. And my photos are suddenly in the public domain where anyone can see them. Your work colleagues, your relatives, your neighbors see you cooking spaghetti naked in front of your tent. And many people still said, that doesn't bother me.
What you say is more important than how, says Graffenried. Obviously, I belong to the photographers who put the content before the aesthetic.
Viele Leute sehen nur das, was sie sehen wollen.
Many people only see what they want to see. As a photographer, I show what everyone could see, but because they don't want to, they don't look. When I take the picture and bring it to the people, and then it is published in a book or shown in an exhibition, then they are forced to look at these pictures, which they could have seen if they had looked at them of their own accord.
The panorama picture in close-up, a small format, 35mm negative, enlarged 400 times. This way the viewer is drawn in. He's face to face with the person in the picture, says Graffenried.
Man muss fast den Kopf drehen, das ganze Bild abzulesen.
You practically have to turn your head to take in the whole picture. You see many pictures within one picture. The wide angle forces me to go nearer to the people. I can't hide anymore. I present myself to these people, they observe me, I observe them, and the picture speaks volumes, if you like. And the format is quite natural. Now I am very near, but even so, with this panorama, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Sikhs in the picture, although I really only just made a portrait. With a normal camera, there would have been just one head, and that's all.
From his father, he learned to meet people without reservation, and from his Michael von Graffenried, born 1957 in Bern. He became known through his outrageous photographic reports from Switzerland. Today, the panorama camera is his preferred instrument of expression. Since 1991, Michael von Graffenried has lived in Paris.
1, 2, 3, los!
His mother, the curiosity and enthusiasm to become acquainted with the unfamiliar, says Michael von Graffenried.
The camera is like an alibi in order to provoke an encounter. You are there is a park, there are 2 people on a bench, you go